Joe's been opening the batting for the Pal Royals in on the country's slowest pitch at Borland Park in Pal. He he's genius. Absolutely, it was mesmerizing, compelling to watch the level of skill. And I know that. I mean, I know how brilliant he is. There's a perception that he's not in England's best T20 side because his strike rate's not high enough. Do you remember we always used to call David Milan the mechanic?
Yeah.
He was there to fix an innings if it got broken. But you know, I wonder really. I mean, is Joe not in the T20 setup because of workload, or or is he only suited to difficult conditions? I mean, on a flat track, do we just want to pick Big Daddy and giant haystacks?
Yeah, Big
Smash
Daddy
it out the ground.
That's exactly what we've been doing. We've been picking Big Daddy and giant haystacks, and they keep getting for the size of Big Daddy and giant haystacks. They keep getting caught inside the ring. Never mind on the edge of the boundary. So, look, class is always going to stick out with Joe, and he's in the ridiculous form of his life in the last 5 years in Test match cricket and all cricket, and I think that's why we see him back in the white ball fold. I would have him in every team. I would never, from a selection panel point of view, I would never want to go into a game of cricket with 3 lines on my chest with a team that didn't have Joe Root in it, because Joe Root is not only one of the best batters of all time. He plays situations brilliantly, like you say. In difficult situations, he stands up and he comes to the fore, a little bit like Ben Stokes in the middle order. I don't see any reason why he couldn't bat 3 for the T20 team with Joss Butler opening the batting. So I also have a train of thought now where that's been my opinion for the last few years. This SA20 competition, I think it's quite a good competition for Joe just to recharge his batteries, take his family out to South Africa for 2 or 3 weeks, have an enjoyable game of cricket with less pressure on. That's not. I mean, I'm not saying we should be looking after Joe that way because he's an England centrally contracted player, but the age he's at, I think that constant international treadmill might be from a recharging batteries point of view. This might be a good thing for England that he's not playing for England, but enjoying his cricket and keeping up his form while enjoying some family time and a nice warm sun. It's not in freezing cold England. And then he comes back into the white ball fold for the Champions Trophy, the ODIs and the Champions Trophy. So there's 2 ways of looking at it. I would have him in every team I pick because for me, he's still the best player that we've got at manipulating situations. And when it comes to strike rate, that's what if you've got Joe Root in number 1, 2, or 3, you can have a Jamie Overton, Bryden Carse at number 7, Livian Livingston at 7 and 8, because they're effective then. Because Joe Root will score runs, take up balls at the top of the order, and buy time for the bottom end to be explosive. But when the bottom end's going in with 5 overs to go, I mean they're not them type of players. They're not good enough for them type of players. So, and I think that from a balance of the side, I think would work better if Joe was in the team rather than playing in the SA20.
I must tell you that he's being accommodated in a villa at the luxury golf and lifestyle estate in Pearl Valley, and he's. I mean, he is.
Why would you want to go to India?
He is in the lap of luxury, I tell you. And Harmy, he is just oozing happiness and contentment. I mean, I honestly, and he's obviously being paid heaps of cash as well. So, quite frankly, this is better than a rest for him. Yeah. I mean, he's scoring runs. He's bowling 4 overs in every game as well. He's in the lap of luxury with his family. And I whisper it, but I wonder whether he might have half a doubt. So if Baz gave him a call and said, "We need you back in the T20," I think Joe might think twice.
Yeah, I would as well. Because I think there's that fine balance, that happy place of. I think Harry Brook's going to have to find it out more often. Ben Duckett's the same. When you're playing all 3 formats, it is very, very tough. And the one thing about Joe is you see him in the summer, in English summer. If there's a game of cricket going and he's allowed to play, he rocks up and he plays it as though he was playing for England, the best of his ability. He played T20s in the summer for Yorkshire. He's played a few first-class games for Yorkshire. every single season going forward. So going back, so he does love the game of cricket, and the best thing I've seen from him out there, Manners, and you see videos of on social medias. He's Joe Root. I mean, he's got time for everybody. He's got time for everybody. He's spreading the word of cricket in Africa. And I'm sure there's kids on the side of the fields, whether it's at Newlands or at Paarl or at Johannesburg, when they get up close and personal with one of the greats of all time, he doesn't disappoint. He doesn't disappoint. He inspires young people to play cricket. So, and that's been evident from when he's out there and he's enjoying himself. So, yes, I'm sure I'd be enjoying Pearl Valley as well, because it's a lovely golf course. It's a lovely place. And he's getting to spend some time with his family. So he's still in a good, rich vein of form from a runs point of view. And he'll transfer that when he gets to Nagpur, when we all get there in a few weeks' time for the ODIs.
And just very, very quickly, you stick with the current crop then? You started off by saying that this is England's best team. So you're not looking elsewhere then? Tom Banton has scored a couple of hundreds in the T20 in the UAE. Or does the fishing net stay packed up? We're not going to be casting it around for new faces.
No, I think it stays. I think it stays where it is for a while. I mean, look at where does Tom Banton fit in? He's a good player and he has had a good recent past. But I mean, you've got Josh Butler. You've just brought Ben Duckett in, so you've got to give him a chance. You've got Phil Salt, who's got a couple of hundreds in the Caribbean not long ago, and then Josh at 3, Harry Brook at 4. I'm looking at that going, it's very, very difficult to get into that group. The only person I'd change it for is if Joe became available and you wanted to put Joe into that top group, because you couldn't not pick him. But I think of the rest, I think from a character point of view, I think there've got to be a certain way in this dressing room for Brendan McCullum to allow you in, because if you're the opposite way, you've got no chance. And I think we've seen that with some of the selections and some of the omissions over the recent past, that I think you have to have a character that fits into this group. And it's not all about the game, your technical qualities.